Hi. This week, as you know, we finished Psalms last week, and next week we will start the rest of the wisdom literature found in the Old Testament with Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Solomon, or maybe your Bible says Song of Songs. But we're going to be covering all that. But this week we are going to take 3 days to do just a brief introduction on each of those books of wisdom. Hi, I'm Mark Scales, and I'm with Heights Christian Church, pastor there. What we're doing is going through the Bible in 5 years. And so this week is just going to be a little different, but we encourage you to subscribe to our channel and get a daily dose of the Bible. We have in small bite-sized pieces since we're going through it in 5 years. And then we pull something out of it. But this week will be just introduction. So today's introduction is going to be on the Book of Proverbs. The Book of Proverbs, actually all of the books that we're going to be studying this week have been written by one man, King Solomon. Now there's some other people that are involved, but for the most part, Solomon wrote all 3 of these books. Now, most scholars believe that when Solomon was a younger man, even though God had given him wisdom, he wrote the Song of Solomon as a young man. Probably Proverbs was written during his middle age, and Ecclesiastes toward the end of his life. But when we look at the book of Proverbs, there are 513 different proverbs by Solomon and others that have been collected in the book of Proverbs. And that's interesting. But they can be arranged because they go one right after the other. Sometimes they go to different things. But they can all be summed up in 3 different relationships. And what Solomon talks about is man's relationship to God, man's relationship to himself, and man's relationship to others. And so we're going to read just a couple of those. So what they look like. So man's relationship to God, we find in Proverbs 10:25, which says, "When the storm has swept by, the wicked are gone, but the righteous stand firm forever." In this proverb, this is talking about how there's a difference between those that follow God and follow themselves, or being wicked. Being wicked is given the idea that they aren't following God's law. And so this is one of those Psalms that talks about a relationship between man and God. Now the second one is man's relationship to himself, and that is right here in Proverbs 20:11. It says, "Even small children are known by their actions. So is their conduct really pure and upright?" This is talking about how you act in relation to yourself. Do you act like a child, or do you know a child by his actions, whether by his words? So that's talking about more like man's relationship with himself. And then the third one is man's relationship to others. And this is a good example in Proverbs 20:17. "Food gained by fraud tastes sweet, but one ends up with a mouth full of gravel." Well, this is just talking about how should we treat others. Should we we think, doing something fraudulently or using lie and deception to get what we want, in the end will not taste good, as the proverb goes. Anyway, so as we go through the book of Proverbs in the next few weeks, it can be divided into several sections. The first 9 chapters talk about, there's a brief title and purpose and theme of the why Proverbs. That's the first 7 verses in chapter 1. But all the way to chapter 9 talks about wisdom and encouragement of a young man specifically a son of Solomon, to embrace wisdom and to pursue godly wisdom. The next chapters 10 through 22, are the actual, we know, attributed to Solomon, his Proverbs, as he contemplates many things as he observes them. Chapters 22 through 24 is a list of other wise sayings by other men that are noted in the Book of Proverbs. And then after that is more Proverbs of Solomon that were accumulated by years later by his, great grandson Hezekiah. So this was over the years, but they were other ones that were found by that were written by Solomon, that were accumulated by Hezekiah and concluded in the book. And then the last two chapters are by other wise men, are known for their wisdom. The first one is Agur, and that's chapter 30, and then chapter 31, Proverbs 31, is done by Lemuel, and chapter 31 is often referred to in reference to wisdom for women. And so, I mean, actually, it's wisdom for everyone. But so there you go. One of the interesting aspects of Proverbs is there are 31 chapters. Sometimes you go, where am I going to go in the Bible? Where am I going to read the Bible today? Well, if there are 31 chapters in Proverbs, you can pick one of the day. Like, for example, today is the 26th of August. You could go to Proverbs 26 and read that. So that's just a helpful hint to look into the book of Proverbs. Tomorrow we'll get to Ecclesiastes. Anyway, I hope you're doing well, and we will talk to you tomorrow.